And together we are sharing the science. Some of the science, Robin, is so new it has not yet made it into the textbooks, although it's in the accredited and accepted publications that describe a power that lives within every human that walks this earth. It's a language of human emotion, and the power of human emotion that we typically discount in our culture, not so in other cultures, but in our culture, the power of that emotion to literally change the conditions that we're talking about, the conditions of the healing within our bodies. And what the experiments are showing is that this power of emotion has the ability to influence not only our bodies biologically, but beyond our bodies into the physical world on the quantum level. It is a powerful language that other cultures apparently know very well. And in the West, when science came in, science discounted the effects of things that cannot be seen and measured directly 400 years ago. And now they're coming back full circle with the language of quantum science, reincorporating these forces, but the feeling and the emotion and the power of human emotion is among those forces that cannot be seen with the naked eye, and we're hard-pressed to measure it on the one hand. And on the other hand, laboratory experiments are documenting the fact, and it is a fact now, that human emotion changes the DNA inside of our bodies and the way we function in this world, and that those effects extend beyond our bodies into the physical matter of the people in the world around us when we learn that language. One of these texts, one of the texts that was edited from our Christian Bible is in this monastery. And we saw it, and you'll see a picture of it here. How many have heard of the Lost Gospel of Thomas? The Lost Gospel of Thomas. Some of you have heard of that text. Very, very powerful text. The Lost Gospel of Thomas is powerful because it is believed to be the actual words of Jesus as he was teaching those around him how to use the power of human emotion in his life. I'm going to share two of these images with you. We said earlier, to unleash the force of the divine matrix in our lives, first, we have to understand how it works. And the science tells us how it works. Secondly, we must speak the language that the divine matrix recognizes, and science cannot tell us that. That comes from our past, from our culture, from our history, from those who have learned and used this language for thousands of years. So this is what we're doing right now. We're learning what did Jesus and what did the great masters say about this language. Because it's the same, whether you're talking Buddhist or Hindu or Christian, pre-Christian traditions, they're all telling us that there is a field of energy and that we have the language to use that field. This is an actual page out of the Gospel of Thomas. So we know that this ancient gospel actually existed. And you can see some of the letters. These are Greek letters. You can actually read some of, if you know Greek, you can see some of the Greek letters right here. In the Gospel of Thomas, two very important keys. This was written right around 300 years after the time of Jesus. In this gospel, okay, so here's what we're doing. We've been in the Buddhist monasteries in Tibet, and they're telling us that that feeling is the prayer, one. Two, that we must feel as if our prayers have already been answered. Okay, and now we're in an Egyptian monastery with the texts that used to be our tradition before they were edited, and we're going to look at the instructions that tell us how to do that. Okay if we do that? Is that good? Okay. Gospel of Thomas. If you have a copy of the Gospel of Thomas, this is verse 106, translated from the Nag Hammadi Library. And if you do not have a copy, it's in our books, and you can go to any library and pick this up. Verse 106. Look at what the Lost Gospel of Thomas says. It says, when you make the two, thought and emotion, one.
So the Gospel of Thomas is talking about thought and emotion. It's saying when you make your thought and your emotion one, look at what happens. You will say to the mountain, mountain, move away, and the mountain will move away. It's saying that when you can marry your thought and your emotion into one single potent force, that is when you have the power to speak to the world. The tumor that disappeared in the woman this morning, that is an example. When those practitioners had the thought of the woman being healed and the feeling and the emotions were all one, the mountain moved, the tumor disappeared. Okay, so this is one place. Now, secondly, when you make the two one, what are they talking about? What are the two? Let's go back to our image. The two, thought and emotion. When the two become one in our hearts, we create the feelings in our bodies. When thought and emotion become one, and you'll see how to do that in just a minute. Let's go back to the Gospel of Thomas, another verse. Now this is verse 48. It says almost the same thing. This was so important that it was recorded at least 3 different times in the same gospel. Look at what this says. If the two make peace with each other in this one house. When Jesus is talking about the house or the temple, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? Precisely you. You are the house. You are the temple. If the two make peace with each other in this house, if thought and emotion become one, if they make peace with each other in this house, look what happens. They will say to the mountain, move away, and it will move away. He's telling us again, in a completely different verse, how powerful it is to marry thought and emotion. But they still haven't told us how. How do you do this? That's the next piece. In the early Christian Bible, your Bible today, there is a passage. How many have heard, ask and ye shall receive? Have you heard that before? Ask and you shall receive. Have you heard that? I know people that ask and ask and ask and nothing happens. Because the asking is not done with the voice. The asking is not done, please, please bring this to my world. That's not asking. To ask, we must speak to the field, to the divine matrix in the language that the field recognizes, and a language that's meaningful. The field doesn't recognize our voice, it recognizes the power of our heart. Remember this morning, our heart, we have a feeling, creates electrical waves, magnetic waves. That's the language the field recognizes. So when you create the feeling in your heart as if your prayer is already answered, that creates the electrical and the magnetic waves that bring that answer to you. And so any discussion regarding this feeling-based prayer, this lost mode of prayer, sometimes seems a little more than academic until we can actually apply it in our lives or see it applied in our lives. It was in the late 1990s that I had the opportunity to do precisely that. When I saw the footage documenting the healing of a life-threatening condition within the body of a living woman using precisely the kinds of techniques that we're speaking about right now. For me, it was this kind of information that took this lost modality of prayer out of the realm of academics and into something that's very real that we can apply in our lives. I had the opportunity during that time to see some video footage of the healing of a 3-inch diameter bladder cancer inside the body of a woman who, by Western medical standards, had been diagnosed inoperable. She had gone, as a last resort, to a medicineless hospital in Beijing, China. It was in this medicineless hospital where they began simply by addressing the life-affirming ways that she could change how she was living her life. They taught her life-affirming ways to breathe and life-affirming ways to nourish her body, gentle movements to stimulate the energy centers in her body. And as she was doing these and strengthening her body, at one point it made sense to undergo a process. Now I'd like to share this. I'd like to describe it to you as a very potent example of how the feeling world inside of our bodies has a direct effect, in this case a very graphic effect, on the world beyond our bodies. So in the video documentation, the film shows a woman lying on in a hospital room. She's fully awake, she's fully conscious, she believes in the process that's about to happen. Before her, there is an ultrasound technician who is running an ultrasound wand over her lower abdomen that we can see on a split-screen television. And on the left-hand side of the screen, they do a snapshot, a freeze frame of an instant in time for reference, so we can see what her condition looked like in that instant in time. On the right-hand side of the screen, we are able to watch real time as 3 practitioners stand behind her, working with the energy in her body and with the feelings in their bodies. And what they do is they begin to chant a word that to them, they've agreed upon, that reinforces the feeling within them that she's already healed. The chant essentially says, already healed, already done. And as they begin to have this feeling and to say these words among themselves, on the computer screen, on the television screen, we can watch in real time this cancerous tumor as it disappears in less than 3 minutes real time. It's not like time lapse on a documentary where you see a rose unfold in 30 seconds in something that normally takes days. This literally happens in less than 3 minutes. Her body responded to the feelings of the practitioners who were trained to have the kinds of feelings that they were having. And all they were feeling was the feeling of what it feels like to be in the presence of a woman who is already healed, fully enabled, fully capacitated. They were not seeing her as a woman who was sick, and they weren't saying, bad cancer, you've got to go away. It's a very, very different way of thinking about things, and it's a very graphic example of precisely how this principle works. I had the opportunity to speak to the gentleman, Luke Chen, that actually created this film. And I asked him a question. I said, what if those 3 practitioners weren't there? I said, could this woman have done this? Could any of us do this on our own? And he smiled at me when I asked him the question. He said, Greg, in all probability, she probably could have done it alone. However, there's something about us humans in that we seem to feel more empowered and stronger when we're supported by others in the things that we believe in and in the things that we choose to accomplish. So while she probably could have had this feeling and done it herself, having these 3 practitioners work with her was the threshold that it took for her body to respond. All they were doing was having the feeling as if she were already healed, and in less than 3 minutes her body responded. What Western physics now is beginning to tell us is that the same energy, the same field that led to the healing in this woman's body also leads to peace between nations. It's the same thing, different scale, same principle. And I've been involved in experiments where hundreds of thousands of people joined together through the World Wide Web. We were coordinated on the internet at a given hour of time, a window of time, when we were trained to feel the feelings of peace in our bodies during that time. And when we did that, statistically, what happened in events around the world, there were wartime events. There were bombings, aerial bombings in Iraq that were scheduled, that were reversed during the window of time when this prayer was happening. Crimes against people declined. Emergency hospital room visits declined. There was a computer research project at Princeton University that was able to document the field of consciousness on a global level while these prayers were going on, and they saw a little glitch, a glyph on the screen indicating that consciousness was responding to hundreds of thousands of people feeling the feeling of peace in the moment that it was occurring.
Not see all of this chaos in the world around you distracting you from yourself if there wasn't something within you that was so valuable it warrants that level of distraction. I want you to think about that. And I know it's a very different way of thinking for some people, and for others, it's right up your alley of what you've always felt. Maybe you've never heard it verbalized. It's important that we verbalize this because in the next 4.5 years, we will be coerced, we will be mandated, we will be invited, we will be indoctrinated to accept new technologies, not just in the world, but into our bodies. I want to talk to you about this in future episodes. There's a reason for that, and it all falls under the broad umbrella of the ancient struggle between light and dark, good and evil. The goal of the struggle, remember, is to deny you your divinity.
Because today, we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
You must see it in your mind. It has to be a reality. If you can see it, it must happen. That's a law of the universe. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Because if you say, I got to do this and this and this to obtain that, you are limiting the universe. Right. Is that the only way it can happen? But if you just say, this is what I want, you focus on the end result. And when you do that, it has to happen as a law. It'll happen in ways that you would never, ever have imagined. So if you're trapped in fear, this will hold you to the older, to the negativity. You have to get over fear, start thinking for yourself. You have to realize the power of your mind and the power you have to control your whole life. This is why you can create your own reality once you know what you want. This is the path I'm going to go down. And you can do it with your mind. You have great power with your mind.
Welcome to the Yeshua Files. This page isn't a religion. It's a rescue mission. We're not here to judge you. We're not here to profit off you. We're not even here to show our face. Because this isn't about the messenger. It's about the way. The true way of Yeshua. The one that's been buried beneath centuries of deception, division, and distraction. We're here to return to the original truth. No more Roman religion. No more politics disguised as faith. No more cherry-picked verses used to control or condemn. Just the raw, ancient, unfiltered message that set people free. Here's what we believe. Every soul deserves the truth, no matter their sin, label, or past. No Gentile, LGBTQ person, addict, atheist, or outsider is unworthy of love. True tithing is helping the widow, the orphan, the stranger, not funding a stage show. The kingdom is not coming to a church. It's coming to a people, and Yeshua is calling them out of Babylon before it falls. This scroll was made to open eyes. If you're here, it's not by accident. Read every part. Don't skip a chapter. Then ask yourself, am I really following Yeshua or just what I was told he was? You don't need us. You need the truth and the courage to walk in it. We'll walk it with you. What this page is and what it's not, let's make something clear for anyone new here. This is not a conspiracy page. This is not just someone asking random questions to ChatGPT. And this is not about stirring fear, division, or hype. This is a discernment platform. Everything you're seeing here has been deeply researched, fact-checked, and measured against original scripture, ancient texts, and historical truth. It's not just opinion, it's truth recovered. We're not here to entertain. We're here to restore what's been stolen. We've used tools like AI to dig, compare translations, expose manipulation, and break through barriers. But this isn't AI-led, it's spirit-led. We don't post anything lightly. It's been prayed over, tested, and refined. You're not getting surface theology. You're getting the true way, the one Yeshua actually walked. We're not here to spread misinformation. In fact, we encourage you to test everything for yourself. Go verify the scrolls, research the timelines, cross-check every verse. This page isn't about us. And we won't show our face because this isn't about ego, fame, or building a platform. It's about bringing people back to Yoah through Yeshua. Pure and simple. You won't find judgment here. You won't find politics. You won't find showmanship or religious superiority. You'll find truth. You'll find love. And you'll find your way back if you want it. If you're LGBTQ, from another religion, atheist, or just broken by life, you're welcome here. No one's too far gone for truth. No one's sin disqualifies them from being loved by Yahuwah.
What if we are afraid of our power to heal the hell that we create in this world? What if we're afraid of the power within us to heal the suffering? If we had that kind of power, does it truly frighten us? Maybe on a subconscious level. Maybe that's what's happening. I'm going to share a story with you. It's a true story. It's a story of the birth of two baby girls, twins, and they were born prematurely, 7 weeks premature. There is a practice in the United States when babies are born prematurely. The first thing they do is separate the babies. Now, can you imagine living in the womb of your mother for 6 or 7 or 8 months and living close to another being, your twin brother or your twin sister, and hearing the heartbeat of your mother every day and the heartbeat of your twin every day, and suddenly you're taken from that environment. And the first thing that happens is you're separated, and they put one twin, one premature baby in one incubator, and the second baby in a second incubator under the hot lights of the intensive care unit in the hospital. They put them in separate rooms, lying on their stomachs face down. That's what they do with the new babies, the premature babies. So these two baby girls came into the world, and this is what happened. They were separated, taken to different rooms, and immediately one of the little girls began to fail. Her vital signs began to drop. She was dying. There was a nurse who was working at the time, and the nurse said, "I must do something or this baby will die." She said, "I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to break the protocol." And she reached in, picked up the young baby that was dying. She took her into the intensive care unit with her sister, and you know where the story's going. You know what happened. She put the weaker girl in the incubator with the stronger girl. But this is where the story gets really interesting. And this is what tells me what I'm about to share with you is something that we are born with. It's not something that we learn, because here is what happened. They put the weaker baby girl in with the stronger one. And immediately the stronger one reached out with her arm and placed her arm around the shoulders of her baby sister. And the minute she did that, the instant she did that, her sister's vital signs stabilized. And she got stronger and stronger and stronger, and they both lived. Okay, can you feel that feeling? Can you feel that? See, I can see you're holding your heart. Some of you have tears in your eyes. Why? That feeling is a language. That feeling is a power that lives inside of your body. If I had walked onto the stage and said, "Now, have that feeling," it may have been hard to do. But you saw an image that gave you a reason for that feeling. You're still crying. It's a powerful story. It's a powerful image. It's true. And the two girls lived, and they're doing very well today. That feeling is something that does not happen in your mind. It happens in your heart. The image and the story went directly to your heart. It bypassed your mind. It bypassed the filters. It bypassed the logic, the questions, the conditioning, the judgment. It was just a feeling. Today, modern science is beginning to understand that that feeling that happens inside of our bodies has a direct effect on the stuff our world is made of, on the atoms and the molecules of our physical world. It's the power of human emotion. It's the power of human feeling. You felt that this morning when you saw the two baby girls. Isn't that an amazing picture? An amazing picture. I love this picture because it tells us who we really are.